Look at this pathetic setup, my dad sneered, knocking over my carefully arranged laboratory equipment. Test tubes shattered on the floor, years of research notes scattered everywhere. Real scientists work in proper labs, not their parents' garage. My name is Alexandra Mitchell, and at 28, I watched my parents destroy 6 years of independent research in less than 10 minutes. Mom stood in the corner, recording everything on her phone, probably for my younger sister Diane to watch later. They'd always been a tag team when it came to crushing my dreams. Please, those samples are irreplaceable, I pleaded, trying to save my Petri dishes from my father's rampage. But he just laughed, sweeping them into the trash with one dramatic gesture. Irreplaceable? You're growing moss in our garage, Alex. This isn't science, it's embarrassing. He turned to Mom, grinning. Can you believe we paid for her PhD for this? I had discovered a unique strain of Arctic moss with potential medical properties. 6 years of research, countless sleepless nights, all funded by my own savings after I refused to work for the big pharmaceutical companies my parents wanted me to join. We're selling the house, Mom announced, still filming. Diane needs the money for her fashion brand launch. You have 3 days to clear out this. She wrinkled her nose. Laboratory. And find somewhere else to live. The house they promised would be mine. The house where I built my research facility, carefully designed to maintain the precise conditions my specimens needed. The house they'd sworn I could keep when they moved to their beach condo. You can't do this, I said, my voice steady despite the chaos in my chest. I have a contract. You signed the house over to me last year. Dad's smirk widened. Check again, sweetheart. The contract was never filed. Just a little oversight. He made air quotes around oversight. Besides, Diane's business will actually make money, unlike whatever this is supposed to be. Mom zoomed in on my face, probably hoping to catch tears, but I wasn't going to give them that satisfaction. Not anymore. Well, she prodded, aren't you going to throw one of your tantrums? Instead, I pulled out my phone and made a call. Dr. Patel, it's Alexandra. Remember that offer? I accept. Yes, I can start immediately. My parents exchanged confused looks. Dr. Patel had been trying to recruit me for a classified research project for months. I'd hesitated, not wanting to leave my independent work. But sometimes the universe has other plans. Pack your little plants, Dad mocked. Maybe you can grow them on your apartment balcony. If you can afford an apartment. I walked to my main research station, the one they hadn't reached yet. 6 sealed containers, each holding the most promising specimens. You know what's funny? I said, carefully packing them into my specialized transport case. You never once asked what I was actually researching here. Because it doesn't matter, Mom replied, finally lowering her phone. Science doesn't matter if it doesn't make money. I sealed the case, checking the temperature controls one last time. 3 days, right? Perfect. That's exactly how long I need. Need for what? Dad demanded, his satisfaction faltering at my calm demeanor. You'll see, I replied, heading for the door. Oh, and Mom, make sure you keep that video. You're going to want proof that this happened. Where are you going? She called after me. To pack my things, and to make some calls. Don't worry about cleaning up the lab. My team will handle it. I paused at the doorway. And Dad? Real scientists don't work from home. Tell that to NASA. I left them standing in the chaos they created, my most important research safely in my arms. They thought they'd crushed my spirit, destroyed my work. But they'd actually done me a favor. Sometimes you need to lose everything to gain something greater. Dr. Patel's project wasn't just any research opportunity. It was a chance to take my work to a level my parents couldn't even imagine. In 3 days, they'd understand exactly what they failed to break. But first, I had some preparations to make. The next morning, a fleet of official vehicles pulled up to our house. Men and women in hazmat suits began carefully documenting and collecting everything from my lab, even the broken equipment. My father stormed out, face red with anger. What is this? You can't bring these people here, he shouted, trying to block their path. A tall woman in a crisp suit approached him, holding up her credentials. Sir, we're with the International Space Research Division. This laboratory contains classified materials. Please step aside. Mom came running out, phone ready to record again. But another agent stopped her. Mom, this is a classified operation. No recordings allowed. In fact, I'll need to delete your video from yesterday. My video? You can't do that. Mom clutched her phone protectively. Actually, we can. This falls under national security protocols. The agent held out her hand expectantly. I watched from my car as they secured the area. Dr. Patel stood beside me, reviewing the preliminary reports. Your Arctic moss strain is remarkable, Alexandra. The resistance it shows to extreme conditions. It's exactly what we've been looking for. I know, I said quietly. That's why I was so careful with my research. The applications for long-term space missions are incredible. A commotion drew our attention. Diane had arrived, designer handbag swinging as she marched toward the house. What's going on? We're supposed to be meeting the real estate agent today. The house is temporarily under government control, an agent informed her. No real estate transactions can proceed until our investigation is complete. Investigation. My father's voice cracked. What investigation? Dr. Patel stepped forward. Mr. Mitchell, your daughter's research facility contained highly sensitive materials crucial to our next space station mission. By destroying unauthorized portions of her lab, you may have compromised national security. I watched their faces transform from confusion to shock. Mom had gone pale, her phone forgotten in her limp hand. Diane stood frozen. Her perfect makeup couldn't hide her growing panic. Space station, Dad whispered. But she was just growing moss. Specially adapted Arctic moss. Dr. Patel corrected him. Moss that could help us create sustainable oxygen production in space. Moss that your daughter has been developing for the past 6 years under strict government observation. My sister turned to me, her designer sunglasses slipping down her nose. You're working with the space program? Not just working with them, Dr. Patel smiled. Alexandra is leading our biological adaptation team. Her research is revolutionizing how we approach long-term space habitation. Dad took a stumbling step toward me. Why didn't you tell us? I tried. For 6 years, I tried to explain my work. You didn't want to hear it. You were too busy filming my failures and planning to give away my house. But, Diane's business. Mom started weakly. We'll have to wait, the agent cut in. This property is now under federal protection. Nobody's selling anything. I turned to Dr. Patel. Is everything secured? He nodded. The samples are safe. We'll have them transferred to the new facility by tonight. New facility? Diane asked. Yes, I replied, finally allowing myself a small smile. My new research center, the one NASA built specifically for my team. The weight of what they'd almost destroyed finally seemed to hit them. My father, who laughed while throwing away my pathetic samples, now stood silent as government agents carefully preserved every scrap of data from my lab. My mother, who'd filmed my embarrassing work, watched as her video was deleted under national security protocols. Alexandra, Dad's voice was barely a whisper. Save it. I cut him off. I have a meeting with the space station design team in an hour. Dr. Patel, shall we? As we drove away, I caught one last glimpse of my family in the rearview mirror. They stood huddled together, watching as their plans crumbled around them, finally understanding exactly what they failed to destroy. But this wasn't about revenge. It was about something much bigger than their small-minded vision of success. My work would help humanity reach for the stars while they remained stuck in their earthbound prejudices. Tomorrow, the official announcements would begin. My name would be everywhere as NASA revealed their breakthrough in sustainable space habitation. But today, watching my parents' world shatter like the test tubes they'd broken was satisfaction enough. Dr. Patel glanced at me as we turned onto the highway, ready to change the world. I smiled, thinking of all the times my family had mocked my dreams. I already have. They just didn't know it until now. 1 month later, I stood on stage at NASA's press conference, explaining how my Arctic moss research would revolutionize oxygen production in space. The auditorium was packed with journalists, scientists, and space program representatives from around the world. In the back row, I spotted my family. They hadn't called since the day their plans fell apart. But here they were, dressed in their finest, trying to look like proud, supportive parents. Diane had even worn a custom-made dress with a galaxy print, probably hoping to catch some media attention. Dr. Mitchell, a reporter called out, "How does it feel to be the youngest scientist to develop a breakthrough for the International Space Station?" Before I could answer, my father stood up. As her father, I always knew Alexandra was destined for greatness. We supported her research from the beginning. The room fell silent. I caught Dr. Patel hiding a smile behind his hand. Actually, I said into the microphone, my voice clear and strong, I'd like to share a video that perfectly captures my family's support. My mother's face went white. She knew exactly what was coming. The giant screen behind me lit up with security footage from my lab. The same day, they destroyed my equipment, but from a different angle. One that showed my father's deliberate destruction, my mother's gleeful filming, their mocking laughter. This was filmed 1 month ago, I explained to the stunned audience. My breakthrough research wasn't developed in a state-of-the-art facility. It was created in my garage, funded by my own savings, while my family actively tried to discourage and destroy my work. The room erupted with questions. Cameras flashed. My parents tried to slip out, but the crowd blocked their exit. Dr. Mitchell, why show this footage? I looked directly at my family as I answered. Because somewhere out there, another young scientist is being told their dreams are worthless. Another researcher is working from their garage, their bedroom, their basement. I want them to know that great discoveries don't always come from perfect conditions. Sometimes they come from perseverance in the face of ridicule. Dr. Patel stepped up to the podium. Alexandra's moss specimens have already been successfully tested in space conditions. Next month, she'll be supervising their installation on the International Space Station herself. This was news to my family. Diane's mouth fell open. Mom grabbed Dad's arm for support. Yes, I confirmed, I'll be part of the next mission crew. It turns out that 6 years of working in isolation, maintaining precise environmental controls, and problem-solving with limited resources made me an ideal candidate for space station work. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. My parents' attempts to belittle my work had actually helped prepare me for one of humanity's most elite positions. After the conference, they tried to approach me. Mom was crying, Dad looked desperate, and Diane was already posting on social media about her amazing scientist sister. Alexandra, honey, Mom reached for me. We were wrong. We're so sorry. You were wrong, I agreed, stepping back. But this isn't about you anymore. My work, my success, my future, none of it belongs to you. But we're family, Diane protested. Doesn't that mean anything? Family? I laughed softly. Family supports each other. Family listens. Family doesn't destroy dreams for their own profit. The house, Dad began. We never filed the paperwork, but we could. Is now government property, I finished for him. Part of the new research complex. Your beach condo will have to do. As security escorted them out, I heard Diane wailing about her fashion brand dreams. But I had more important things to focus on. My team was waiting to review the final preparations for our space station mission. 3 months later, I watched Earth shrink beneath me as our rocket pushed through the atmosphere. The same moss my father had thrown in the trash was safely stored in our cargo hold, ready to help humanity reach further into space than ever before. Dr. Patel's voice crackled through my headset. Ground control reports your parents are watching the launch. They're requesting a statement. I smiled, looking at the curve of our beautiful planet below. Tell them thank you. Thank you? He sounded surprised. Yes, thank them for teaching me that sometimes you have to lose gravity to find your wings. And tell them not to wait up. I'll be busy growing moss among the stars. As we docked with the International Space Station, I thought about that day in the garage. They thought they were crushing my spirit, but they'd only proved how unbreakable it was. Now my research would help humanity break free from Earth's bonds, while they remain trapped by their own limitations. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't about getting even. It's about getting higher than anyone thought you could go.